Some people have said to me, Marianne, is what's happening in America today our karma? So I want to address that issue. In a certain way, yes. We had tremendous power, and in so many ways we squandered it. We did not use that extraordinary power to make life better for the majority of our citizens, not over the last few decades. We sold out our government to the highest bidder. We morally hollowed out the vision at the core of both major political parties, actually. The soul of both just corrupted so much by the undue influence of money. And in terms of the rest of the world, we were hideously irresponsible and reckless and destructive in places and situations where there's no moral or military justification for having done so, and in large part because of the extraordinary power of the military-industrial complex in the United States. Now, the story doesn't end with, therefore, you shouldn't be surprised, the whole thing crumbling. It's not that simple. So I want to talk about the history of the great spiritual and religious ideas. Buddha was born about 500 years before Jesus. And part of his teaching was action-reaction, which is where the idea of karma comes from. For every action, there's a reaction, which, of course, is really just a larger statement of the law of cause and effect. And Jesus came 500 years later, and his message, in essence, is, yes, but in a moment of grace, through atonement, and through the mercy of God, all karma can be burned. But the line, God shall not be mocked, means that he isn't. So if we have contrite hearts, and enough Americans are willing to admit what I was just talking about, and atone in our hearts for that, included in there, of course, is all the levels of racial, economic, environmental injustice, all those things. If we are willing to atone, if we are willing to recognize, the word recognize, what has really gone on here, what was right and what was wrong. Sometimes people on the right only want to talk about what America's done well and wonderful, and they don't even want our kids to learn about the shadows, much less deal with those shadows. But people on the left are often equally imbalanced. They only want to talk sometimes about what America's done wrong, and there's way too little recognition, if any, of the extraordinary good that we have done, and the extraordinary good at the core of the ideals that so many people have struggled to achieve. Both are true. We've been slave owner and abolitionist. We've been corporate exploiter and organized laborer. We've been all the things that are the spectrum of what humanity is. But it's time to get real. This is how you heal in your own individual life. When the doctor can't do anything more for you, the accountant can't do anything more for you, the lawyer can't do anything more for you, that's often when we fall to our knees and we get real with God, the God of our understanding, however you think of these things. And it's time for us as Americans to do that now. Nations need to atone. Abraham Lincoln said that nations need to atone just like individuals do. And then, according to your own heart's understanding, where you go with that is, I get it. Much like in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, where first step, you admit the whole thing's unmanageable. And one of the lines in AA is, your best thinking got you here. Well, our best thinking got us here. And look where we are. So for those of you who realize that there are objective discernible laws of consciousness, just as there are objective discernible laws of the external world, I hope you'll join with me in looking deep within. We don't need a majority, we just need a critical mass of people who are willing to look deep, who know that this isn't woo-woo, that this is not nothing. The laws of spirituality really are the laws of psychology. And the truth is that the same rules of consciousness, psychology, spirituality, and so forth, that prevail within the life of an individual, prevail within the life of a nation. All of us get it wrong sometimes. Fall to your knees, literally or figuratively, to atone for where we've gotten it wrong, be willing to make amends where we've gotten it wrong, and a willingness to change and do better in the next round. That's what God is asking for. And that's how our karma is burned. Thanks.